Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. November 13th. Mark that date on your calendar because there's an important announcement coming out that's going to directly impact all of us and our money. And when I say all of us, I mean anyone living on a fixed income. Social Security retirement, SSDI, survivor benefits, spousal benefits, SSI, VA benefits, and railroad retirement benefits. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't we just get the COLA announcement last month? We did. But this November 13th announcement is something different. And honestly, this one might make you feel some type of way. I've been covering benefits for years, and I can tell you that what's coming out on the 13th is going to tell us a lot about whether we're really getting what we need or if we're getting the short end of the stick again. So let's break down exactly what's happening, why it matters, and what this means for your actual purchasing power, because that's what really counts at the end of the day. So here's what's dropping on November 13th, the October inflation data. Now, I can already hear some of you saying, wait, didn't we already get the COLA announcement? Why does October inflation matter? You're right. Technically, this data does not impact the COLA raise we're getting next year. That ship has sailed. The Social Security Administration already announced the 2.5% cost of living adjustment for 2025 based on inflation from July, August, and September. I know it's disappointing. Believe me, I've seen all your comments, and I've been just as frustrated in my other videos. But here's why I want to watch this October inflation number very, very closely. It's going to tell us whether they stuck it to us or not. Let me explain what I mean. The COLA calculation uses 3 specific months: July, August, and September. Those are the months that matter for determining our raise. And wouldn't you know it, during those 3 months, inflation conveniently came in relatively low. Not super low, but low enough to give us a measly 2.5% increase. But if we see the October inflation data come out on November 13th and it shows a massive uptick, a huge surge in inflation, then I'm going to be pretty upset. And you should be too, because it means we're seeing a pattern here. It means that the 3 months that actually count for our COLA just happen to show lower inflation, but then immediately after, inflation spikes back up. Call me cynical, but I smell a rat. I see the smoke and mirrors. It feels like we're being played. Now, even though the October inflation number won't change our 2.5% COLA for next year, it absolutely will impact our monthly benefits in a huge way. And here's how. Purchasing power. See, we get a fixed amount of money every month, right? Let's say you get $1, $500 from Social Security. That $1, $500 needs to cover your rent, your groceries, your utilities, your medications, everything, for an entire month. But when inflation goes up, when we see rapidly rising prices, that same $1, $500 buys less and less. Think of it this way. That dollar in your pocket today can buy you a certain amount of goods and services. But if inflation keeps climbing over the next few weeks and months, that same dollar might only buy you the equivalent of 95 cents worth of stuff, or 93 cents, or even less. That's the depletion of purchasing power. So even though the October inflation number won't increase our COLA, it directly impacts how much our monthly benefit can actually buy. And that's what matters in real life. Not the number on the check, but what that check can actually do for you. Quick side note, because I get this question every single year around this time. I didn't get my COLA raise yet. Where is it? Why isn't it in my account? The COLA raise doesn't come until January. I know you know this. But every year after the official announcement in October, I get hundreds of comments asking where their raise is. So just to be crystal clear, the 2.5% increase will show up in your January 2025 payment, not before then. And speaking of that 2.5% raise, we need to talk about the elephant in the room, Medicare Part B premiums. For the lowest income beneficiaries especially, the Medicare Part B premium increase is going to eat up most of that pathetic 2.5% COLA raise. So while the Social Security Administration is patting themselves on the back for giving us a cost of living adjustment, the reality is that many of you will barely see any actual increase in your net benefit after Medicare takes their cut. That's why I keep saying it feels like they're sticking it to us. Give us a raise with one hand, take it back with the other. So here's what I'm watching for when the October inflation data drops on November 13th. If inflation comes in low or moderate, then maybe the COLA calculation was fair. Maybe we're actually getting a raise that somewhat matches the reality of price increases. But if inflation comes in high, if we see a big spike, then we'll know for sure that the 3 months they used for the COLA calculation were outliers. We'll know that they cherry-picked the lowest inflation months to justify giving us the smallest raise possible while inflation continues to rage everywhere else. I'll be covering the October inflation report as soon as it drops. I'll break down the numbers, tell you what they really mean, and we'll talk about what this does to our purchasing power for the year ahead. Look, I want to be real with you for a second. Living on Social Security, SSDI, SSI, or VA benefits is hard. I talk to people every single day who are struggling to make ends meet. And every year, it feels like we're being told that our cost of living increase is fair and adequate. But then we go to the grocery store and our cart costs $30 more than it did last month. We go to pay rent and it's gone up again. We look at utility bills and they're through the roof. The COLA is supposed to help us keep up with inflation. But when the COLA is based on 3 cherry-picked months and doesn't reflect the actual inflation we're experiencing the other 9 months of the year, it's not doing its job. That's why I keep bringing you these updates. That's why I'm going to watch that November 13th data like a hawk. Because you deserve to know the truth about what's really happening with your money and your purchasing power. All right, so here's what you need to do right now. First, if you're on Medicare, call that number and get your free plan review during annual enrollment. This is not something you can do later. The window is closing in less than a month. Protect yourself from huge medical bills and potentially save thousands of dollars in the process. Second, mark November 13th on your calendar. I'll be breaking down the October inflation data as soon as it's released, and you'll want to see what the numbers say about our purchasing power. Third, start planning your January budget now. Yes, you're getting a 2.5% raise, but factor in that Medicare premium increase and the reality of ongoing inflation. Every dollar counts when you're on a fixed income, so planning ahead can save you stress down the road. Fourth, if you get any mail from Social Security, especially about medical reviews, overpayments, or benefit changes, do not ignore it. These letters have deadlines, and missing them can put your benefits at risk. I also want to remind you that you're not alone in this. There are millions of us navigating this system together, dealing with the same frustrations, the same challenges, the same worries about whether our benefits will be enough. That's exactly why this channel exists, to cut through the confusion, call out the problems, and give you real information you can actually use. No sugarcoating, no political spin, just the facts and what they mean for your wallet. If you know someone on Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA benefits, or Medicare, please share this video with them. Share that Medicare review phone number. We look out for each other in this community, and information is power. So that's the deal with November 13th. The October inflation data is coming, and it's going to tell us a lot about whether we're really getting a fair shake or whether we're being played once again. I'll be here to break it all down for you as soon as those numbers drop. In the meantime, please take care of that Medicare enrollment if you haven't already. Write that number down, make the call, get yourself properly covered. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I've got over 100 plus videos in the library covering every aspect of benefits, assistance programs, and financial help for people on fixed incomes. Check out the popular videos I've linked in the description and pinned in the comments. Thanks for being part of this community. We're in this together, and I'll see you in the next video when we break down those inflation numbers. Take care of yourselves.